Hi people, this time I'm going to explain you why the wokes and the progressive society is fucking up the mind of the younger generations. And I will take some time to explain that, but please, just keep with it. I'm not a native English speaker, I'm a native Spanish speaker, but I'm trying to exercise my English in order to get better at it. So don't reject this video. Don't stop it, because what I'm going to tell you would really clarify why the mind of the younger generations is really being fucked up by the society, by this progressive and woke culture. But I'm going to do it in a way that you will not find anywhere else. It will be pretty well explained, and probably you will not find any better explanation than this. So please stay. Okay, let me start with the moral. And I really made this video several times because I'm not really able to explain how the moral works on English. I can only explain it on Spanish, but I will try my best to tell you the core ideas in order to you understand later how a mind with the case that I'm going to hypothetical case that I'm going to tell you how the mind is fucked up by the culture. So at least understand this about the moral. The society, all the societies need a moral in order to allow the members of the society to coexist each other. If the moral doesn't exist, the society can't last too long, because the moral teach the members of the society how to behave. What is more important in their behavior? In the context to regulate their behavior. The moral has a set of values. The values is what the society sees as the more important thing, as important. So we have a set of values, each one is telling what is important to the society to follow. The moral tells the people that they have to regulate their behavior in order to follow what is important by the society, to not violate those values, that the society is expecting that you behave in a manner that would follow the value. The values are hierarchized, organized with some importance, and there are values that are more important than others. The society will expect that in a situation you regulate your own behavior in order to follow the most important value first and then the others. If you don't follow that, you will be scorned by the society. You will be criticized by others, and that by itself is a system that allows the human beings in a society to coexist. Because if we don't have that system, if we don't have a moral, what we will have is a bunch of people that doesn't know how to regulate their own behavior, and that will be driven by their instincts and emotions. And when a people is driven by their own instincts and emotions, will do a lot of extreme shit that will destroy others and themselves, because they can control themselves. Okay, maybe you could tell at this point that that will not happen through Illuminati. That never will going to happen, because there are consequences. Okay, you are right. Just by living with other human being, the other human being will respond of whatever you do to them, and with by itself entails some kind of regulation, by punishment, by consequences. If you do something that harm other people, the other people will respond in the same way, or even in a worse way, will behave, will instill pain into you, back to you. Okay, but the problem is that if we don't have moral, everyone is going to evaluate the situations in a different manner. What is important in a different manner, and they will distort how we should interact, and that by itself will create an enormous quantity of problems. It will disallow the coexistence of large groups of people. And that is why we need consistency. We need a moral. Okay? Now you understand why we need a moral? The problem with the progressivism is that they have a pseudo-moral. The moral that they have doesn't have any sense. Their values change according of what the people need in the moment, because they use the values as some kind of spell that they use in order to control the behavior of others, but they never regulate their own behavior. They suppose that they will not discriminate, that is a value that they have, but they actually do discriminate. But they use that very same value, not discriminate, in order, they change the definition, I use that in order to allow them to discriminate, because they change the definition in order to discrimination becomes system discrimination, for example. And that thing allowed them, we are the victim, everyone is the victim, but the white males, and then we can get revenge on them and steal at their shit. They can discriminate. Actually, the real definition of discrimination, they allow themselves to do that. And that is a fucking contradiction, but they can see that. They change the definition of their own values according to the context and whatever it benefits them at the moment. So their pseudo-moral is not a real moral. Also, that pseudo-moral doesn't have hierarchy. I really don't know how to say that in English, but it doesn't have a structure with an order of importance of the values. That order change constantly, contextually, and that by itself makes that pseudo moral makes that pseudo moral and not a real moral. That is not a moral. But the worst thing And that is really not a moral is that it doesn't teach the members of the society to regulate their own behavior. And that is the core factor of a moral. If that helps the people, teach people to regulate their behavior in a consistent way in order to avoid the conflict and the destruction, the society and their members. It allows them to coexist, but the pseudo-moral of the progressivism doesn't allow them to coexist. If you see, they fight with everyone for their own interest. They are extremely egotistical. They are extremely loony. They are extremely crazy because they doesn't have any consistency, and that can be reflected. You can see that is reflected. Sorry, you can see that on the younger generations, on the centennials and the coomers. They are progressively more crazy because they has been taught by the most loony people that doesn't have any moral, any value, the progressives and the wokes. Okay? Now that I have defined that, and now that I've talked about the moral and why is that needed in order to regulate the behavior, let me talk you about how. Let me explain you how a mind can be fucked by those, by the what the culture teach, by this woke and progressive society's teaching. Okay, we need the moral. Actually, that is that the moral has been erased from our culture, and what we have instead of moral is the plain consequences that the society acts in the moment. If you don't have a consistency on what should we value and how is expected that we have to behave, what is left is only a relationships of power, in where we learn how to behave according at which is saying how we have to behave. If a people of power is saying how we have to behave, we have to behave like that. If not, then we are going to get some extremely bad consequences. They will punish us by rejecting us, by controlling the group to reject us, or directly they will punish us by instilling pain to us. And that thing in a young man that will instill fear in that young man. The society, as it doesn't have a structure of values, just will follow whatever the group says, whatever the majority of people says, or the group where the boy is identified, because it will depend of a group in order to know how to behave, in order to behave with others. that boy will not have a structure, a set of values. It will not have a moral in order to say no to the force of the group. It would follow the group, it will say whatever and add in whatever the group said at the moment. And remember, the progressives and the wokes act like schizophrenics. They change everything they say, everything, the meaning of the words, at depending of the situation and what is convenient for the people in power in those groups. They will expect everyone to adivinate. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but it will. They will expect that the people guess what they are thinking, or what is the meaning at the moment, or whatever the nonsense they are spouting at the time. Okay, so, but the thing is, they would really follow with fear the consequences of their behavior in that group, and that will instill fear deeply in the mind of those people. When you have pain, the mind drives you to alleviate that pain. The pain is an alarm that tells the mind, the body and the mind, that there's something urgent that we have to attend. It could be something that is creating danger, that it entails danger to us. We have to get rid of that thing that is entailing danger to us, or that is harming us. That's why the pain exists. We have to get away for whatever is making pain, or we have to alleviate, to get rid of the reason. We have to alleviate the pain. Normally, we experiment emotions by a little negative emotions just by a little bit of time. Normally, in a sane mind, the anger, the fear only lasts a few minutes, not more than that. But the problem is, what if the context is constantly instilling fear in the mind of one people, because there is no logic intermoral as it is happening with the wokeism, with the progressivism. They don't have a moral. Everything is a lunacy. You could be punished by something that you make or say in a moment that is fine in the group in a moment, but in the other moment is not, because it's not longer convenient for someone with more power than you. That is what is happening in those lunacy groups. Okay, so what if the group instills you fear with the consequences. And remember, you can learn those consequences directly. I mean, you have received the negative consequences directly, or you can see other people receiving the consequences of acting in a way that the group disapproves. In other way, then you can learn directly or watching the consequences. And the people in those groups that have power will make examples of maybe at one time what I had said it will lead to the punishment of someone, and maybe in another time it will not. It will be rewarded. The important thing is that you, my follower, will follow my desires, because I have power in that group, and that is the only thing that is worth. That is the only law that we have. You have to follow what the group say, especially what the people in the power says, because that is law. Okay. Then, in that situation, the pain is needed to get rid in order to you be fine, emotionally and mentally health. It should last a little. The emotions, the negative emotions, entails pain. If you have anger, you have a certain set of pain inside that anger. You have fear, you have some amount of pain on that fear. If you have sadness, you also have some amount of pain in that sadness. So the basic negative emotions have pain, and normally they should last a little. Something wrong is happening, something bad is happening to you, and then you should have a negative emotion that only lasts some minutes. And that by itself, the emotions, the negative emotion, will drive you to act in a way that is more adapted to the situation. For example, the anger will instill you to fight. The anger will instill you to be hostile to the source of the pain, to the source of danger. The fear will instill you to get wrong, to go to escape from the source of danger, and that was really correct in a previous for all of the history of humanity. That's a correct behavior tendency. That is a tool that the man have to in order to let us adapt to the circumstances that are constant in the nature. But the problem is what happens if the society is totally ill and is constantly providing doses of pain, instilling constantly fear in their members. The pain will last. the fear will last. And no matter what do the individual, no matter what you do, the group works instilling constantly pain and fear among their members. So you will always be having pain. When that happens, when there is a pain that is not disappearing, that the situation is constantly providing, the mind has some kind of tool that helps to not pay attention to that pain. Remember that if you have pain, your mind will focus automatically to the source of pain and will rob still all of your mental capacities and functions in order to focus them to attend and alleviate that pain and get rid of the source of pain. As it does that, if you can get rid of the pain, it will create something, and it will use another tool. It's not like a tool that the mind have, but it's a consequence of an extended period of time of the pain. The nerves that are the nerves in where the pain is occurring, in where the negative emotion is occurring, in this case fear, will become numb, and over time the numbness will grow a lot and a lot and a lot, more and more and more. It will reach the time in where you will not longer be capable of feel the fear, but the fear is still here because the context is still providing fear. It's still instilling fear into you. But at that point, the mind will get stuck in what we call trauma. I know the concept trauma is a pretty wrong one. It's a dumbassery, it's a scammy thing that Freud said a long time ago. But the phenomenon in which you are not capable to remember whatever has fucked up your mind, and that you can feel your own body, those nerves that has to do with that a situation that create a problem, that was a problem and provides pain to you. It really does exist, and that is what I call trauma. That trauma will disallow your mind to remember what caused the pain, and will disallow your mind to feel that pain that you already have, that fear that you already have. It doesn't disappear the fear, it doesn't disappear the pain. It's still there, and furthermore, it's living by itself. Even if you change the group of people and you go to another place with pretty good people, you stop being woke and go with other people, the damage at your mind remain, because the trauma remains. And now you are in a situation in where you are not capable to feel your emotions, but you constantly, as soon as you get awake, your mind generates that fear at that pain, because it get locked into that. It's some kind of circuit, if you can say it poetically, circuit in which the behavior is locked in the mind. It's not a real circuit, it's just that you are so fucking used to behave like that, and it's extremely painful to open those memories that your mind prefer to close and disallow you to feel the pain in those nerves. It's why pretty fucking extremely difficult to open those memories in order to let you alleviate and overcome that trauma. So you are fucked up. Just by living in that environment has fucked up your mind. But let's go back to the example. Let's say that the young man is still in the woke group. Okay. At first, the constant pain has been filled by that boy, but later the fear and the pain is not felt by him. It can feel that pain, it can feel that fear. It only had learned that the pain will pain still of pain will disappear if he follows whatever the group says at the moment. So that will make him to erase itself from its own mind. It will become a puppet of the group, or whatever the group say. It will have an extreme fear to desafiate the group. It will be extremely fearful. Seen as someone that it will not follow the rules of the group, because there is a lot of years of pain and fear that has been reinforced by what other people do and what he has experienced and what other people has experienced and he has watched with the punishment that group of wokes has. By the fear he feels, he will be driven by that fear. He will be driven to punish others by its own fear in order to follow the instructions or whatever the group says at the moment. It will feel a lot of pain. Why that people is not following the rules of my group? It will remember, not consciously, but unconsciously he will remember the memories of all of those punishment that he has seen in other people's, and that he has experienced by himself, in his own flesh. Will become available to his mind, his unconscious mind, and he will feel the brunt punch of all that fear accumulated across the years, of all those situations. It will feel distress, it will feel a lot of fear, but that fear only will be unconscious. It will not be conscious pain, it will be unconscious, but it will really feel the stress of all of that. The urgency to punish the people that is not following the rule, in order to calm and alleviate those demons of his own past, all of the fear that he has felt in the past. Of course, that will not alleviate the trauma that he already has. It will not alleviate that, but it will alleviate the extreme fear that he has only for barely opening the memories of all those instances in where the group has instilled fear on him. I'm not referring only one group. I'm saying group constantly, but it's not that group of friends, of woke friends for that person. No, I mean all the groups of woke people in where he has interacted in the past, where he has interacted in the past. All of those groups has instilled fear to him. And remember, in our current society, the media, the internet, the video games, the comics, everything is woke, and everything is telling the people what he have to fear, what they have to fear, what behavior has to be punished, and what behavior should be rewarded, or in this case, in the case of the wokes, what intrinsic characteristics should be punished, and what intrinsic characteristic should be not punished. If you're wondering why suddenly all the comers and most of the, not most, but a really high degree of the Zoomers has declared themselves as non-binary and some other LGBT non-binary, is because they have found that the characteristic to be punished is whiteness. The intrinsic characteristic that to be punished is whiteness, and to be an heterosexual male. If you say something that makes you of an protected group, just by saying that you are of a protected group, you will automatically avoid all the punishment that those woke groups are saying that you that you have to, and the punishment that they say that you have to receive only for being white and male. You will be spared from that. And remember, a man that is woke has already a lot of fear that has been instilled by the society in its mind. It will become extremely important for him to not be seen as someone that this has to be punished. And that's why they become LGBT when they are really not that. And that is why if they don't become that, they will say that they are allies of the feminism or allies of the LGBT lobby. That's the reason. They will search for a way to excuse themselves to the group. See, even if I am male, a white dude, even if I'm heterosexual, please don't punish me. Please don't, I don't, and I will behave more drastically, extremely arrogant than you, and I will punish others with all my hate, with all my force, in order to demonstrate you that I'm not guilty of that original sin of being white, male, and heterosexual. You cannot understand that these people are living a hell. Their minds are extremely fucked up. They don't live with a value system. They with a moral system. They live to serve whatever the group is saying. Their own group is saying at the moment, and their groups change the definition of things according to whatever is convenient for the people in power in that very same group. That's why they act like a sect. They are a sect, a demonic sect. For what they do, they really act as a satanic sect. Just think a minute. They are making child sacrifice. They abort their child and try to force everyone to support the sacrifice of child. They really are doing. They are degenerated. They are degenerated. And they support that and promote that. Everything that we said before, 20 years before, in the past, that we said that we'll have the religion of Lucifer, they are doing that. They are really what we told before that is going to be that it was going to be the religion of Lucifer. They are doing that. They are the religion of Lucifer. They are the wars of the wars of the wars of the humanity. But they do all of that because their groups focus on their minds. At the moment, they doesn't have any value, doesn't have any moral, and only learn pseudo morals that are used to justify the pain that the group is delivering to them. With the excuse, they learn to fear the group and the people in power. That's why they can afford to develop a personality. That's why they are. It's like if they were created in a mass production process. That's why they seems to be a mass production product, because they can't afford to get the anger of the group, of their groups. The problem is that the Western societies are teaching to get rid of the moral by becoming woke and start behaving according to the group said at the moment, in the current moment. That's why the feminist doesn't have any sense of whatever they say at a moment, and then at the other moment they change the definition, and it becomes other thing that doesn't have any relation for what they have said before. That's a very core reason. And the mind that has traumas, that is locked in the pain, and is trapped by a group, by a sect group, like the wokeism, is not capable, is really not capable of control itself. If you have traumas and don't solve them and don't overcome them, the pain of those traumas will grow by time, and the pain will grow every single time, passing day, more and more and more and more, and it will reach a point in where all of the resources, most of the resources of the mind will be focused on numbing pain in order to not let you feel the pain and not allow you to remember those bad experiences that were constructing that pain, that were providing that pain. And if you think about it, this process will take a lot of years, and with more resources of the mind are used in that, the more resources of the mind are used in that, the less resources of the mind are free in order to allow the person to control their own behavior and their own life. They can't do that because they don't have the resources. Their mental resources are occupied by the traumas, their traumas. So that's why their mind become less and less capable over time, and they seem like retards at more age they get. They at more old they get. Their mind lose capacities because of that. So do you have to understand that these people are really ill, mentally ill, and doesn't know how to regulate their emotions? And this explains why they are to prone to explode by everything, because they already are experiencing an excruciating pain, that they don't are aware of, because that has been numbed by their traumas. They are experiencing a lot of fear and a lot of pain, and that becomes at sometimes an explosion of anger, and then it switches back into the fear, because the pain is extremely excruciating in their minds, but they are not capable to feel that, because the nerves are numb, their memories are locked. So, whatever circumstance instills a little, even a little, of more pain in their lives, they will explode in craziness. And if they see other people saying or doing something that their work groups, has told them that that behavior has to be punished, they will explode like a crazy lunatics and try by their own fear to punish that in order to alleviate the extreme pain and fear that they have instilled in their minds. They no longer withstand the pain. That's why those people tend to take a lot of medication, psychiatric medication, because they are totally crazy, because their traumas has grown at extremely high degrees of lunacy. Their traumas are unbearable. They can't withstand those traumas, that pain, that fear. And remember, that fear change into anger, quickly explodes and switch back to fear. And you can see the LGBT people and the feminist people having extremely quick change of humor. At one point, they are extremely fearful, and you can see them the face of SpongeBob SquarePants in them, with the ace at the point or almost exploding, with a smile in their face, and something happened and they suddenly change. That is fear. Even if they are smiling, they are experiencing fear. And something changed, something happened, and suddenly they explode in anger, in a very extremely deep anger. They explode not by the situation, not by whatever it makes them anger in the situation. They explode because they need to do that, because their pain has to get alleviated by something, and a way to alleviate that, to reduce the pain, is just explode in anger. Something make them anger even a little, and they explode hysterically in anger. But that was the reason. They already has been experiencing pain and fear by a lot of time, and are in the point of exploding by anything. They just use whatever is happening in the moment and as an excuse to let their mind to explode and alleviate a little of their pain that they has in their trauma. Okay, so that's why you can see the LGBT and the feminist exploding. Even the Karens, most of the Karens are LGBT or feminist. I'm sorry, I say it wrong. Most of the Karens are feminist and later LGBT, and that's why you can see the men that you expect the men don't behave like that, but the LGBT act like that, explode like a Karens, because they are fucking crazy. Not because they are crazy, but they are at the point of exploding because they're traumas. And they will never accept that they have traumas. They will never accept that they have an emotional problem because they are subservient. They submit to the woke group and the woke mob, and they will not get any kind of help that is not approved by that group. And that group tells them that the only way that is approved by the group, the only therapy that I can get that is approved by that group is being fucked in the ass. That's it. The deprivation, sexual deprivation. That is something that the wokeism is telling them. The psychology profession, the psychology profession has been overcome by a bunch of feminists and LGBT, and they say that the cure for your mental health issues, for your mental problem, is determined you will be cured of your mental problems inserting things in your butthole. That's it. Being depraved. Being a nasty shit. Depraved shit. That's what they tell, and that's why the psychology is a joke right now. Because has been the real psychologist has been substituted by feminist and LGBT activists. Okay. Then now you can understand why they behave like they are behaving. It's not like there is some kind of, it's not like it's only because what the culture are teaching. It's not only that, it's the lack of morality. It's also that the parents are not teaching them anything. The parents aren't letting the mass media teach them how to behave. The schools and their group of friends are reinforcing the fake moral of the progressives constantly in them, as that moral has no structure, has nothing, has no credence of any kind. They had to rely on the approval of the group, and that is the most important thing in the mind of those people, is the approval of in the moment of the group. And you can see that explains also why at some point the same behavior is rewarded and punished in another moment by the same group of people. It doesn't have any consistency. It's only whatever is convenient for the people in power in that group. Then the traumas also, the trauma that they develop also, that is constantly reinforced by that sect, by that group, by the people in those work groups, and in the society in general, because the society has been soiled by those woke ideas, and the society in general reinforce those woke ideas. By fear, you can see with the LGBT bastards, you can see how the people, if you talk wrong of the LGBT, the people will explode in pain and will try to punish you, because those people are untouchable. You can't say anything bad about because they are victims. That way of or that thought, that idea has been instilled with fear on the society in general. It has reached the normies. It's almost like it were an axioma, but it's not an axioma. It's not that. It's just something that the fucking progressives, the fucking lunatics told us, and they has teach using the media propaganda that we have to put in some kind of idol status, untouchable status to the protected groups, including women. The women are the majority of the people in the world, but including women, including LGBT, including the blacks, and they are more than the white people in the world, but it doesn't have to have sense. It doesn't need to have sense. The LGBT and the Jewish also. But those are not Jewish. Those really are not Jewish. Those are Ashkenazis, but that's other topic for another video. So then you can see why their people are in the border. If not, they are really at the lunacy. They are crazy, at the border of craziness or plain crazy. They are really crazy right now. But they are trapped. They can escape for their own trap that they created with their groups. Okay, the culture had created the problem. The people in power has forcing the media to teach those fucking fake moral, has created everything of this. But the weak people, in order to get recognized, the weak men, in order to get recognized by the society, especially by the woman, they were the media, but they were the force of punishment for the other men. They really, those white knights, punished every single man that tried to defend their own rights. Those weak men that only thinks with their dicks tell everyone else that we are misogynist, that we are sexist, etc. That we are the bad guys, in order to them be approved by their group, because they are as they are the more weak mentally, they were susceptible to be recruited in those sect ideology, in those groups, and they were their force. If those men disappeared, the sect lost all their power, the power of coercion across the normies, and we, the not normie people, the intelligent one. Okay. So please understand, those people are fucked in the mind, but there is a reason. It started with the lack of moral. It started with the culture. Also, the lack of the culture was teaching that lack of moral, and groups of people, of peers of children, reinforced that whatever they had seen on the television, on the social media, and started to punish themselves one to other according to those rules, and organized their own groups and hierarchy, using that as a model. And because there are no parent, not father to teach them moral. That's the other thing that I forgot to say. The father is mainly the one that is responsible to teach the moral. So in this time that there is no father in the family, that the woman can just abandon the family, just get divorced and get half of the stuff of the man, and erase the father from the family. In this time, who is gonna teach the moral? The woman doesn't have the capacity to teach the moral. It was the man. Why I'm saying the women are incapable to teach the moral of a society? Because if you get back into the studies of the 70s, why before the feminists has taken over the psychology profession, if you get back to those studies, the women are morally retarded. In Colbert, how to say it in English? Pyramid of values. In Colbert pyramid of moral stage, the woman only gets into the third stage. But there was sixth stage. But I'm not pretty sure. I'm really not pretty sure if that is correct, because the society was not forcing the women to be responsible of their own actions, but it really was forcing the men to be responsible. And what we are seeing in the younger generations, that are not longer teaching the men to be responsible of their own actions, is they behave like a woman. So they are morally retarded also. Maybe the reason for those differences between men and women on those studies back in the 70s was because the woman has not received an education in responsibility, and the man do receive that education. That could be, or at least the difference will not be that large. But as we lack of the data, let's say that the women are morally retarded. Maybe because they never has been responsible. We never forced them to be responsible. Or maybe that is their nature. I'm not sure in this regard. But the outcome is the same. The actual situation is that the woman is never get accountable of their own actions. So, why a person that is not accountable of their own actions is going to teach moral or hope if she is, if they are not, they are not accountable of their own actions, how they are going to develop moral? They will not. How they are going to develop some kind of emotional regulation or behavioral regulation? They doesn't need to do that, because nobody makes them accountable. There is no consequence at their actions, at their bad behavior. So they are incapable to teach morals. As they are incapable to do that, then that explains why erasing the father of the family will screw the society and create an anti-system. But, as I said before, I blame. Yes, the one that created this are the elites. Those Illuminatis, as we can say. Not really the Illuminatis, I don't believe that something like that really exists. But the people in power really created this shit. They promoted everything of this. But they has no power to create this system in the world if they lack the help of the subservient allies that will be the force of punishment of the other free men. They are the problem. But I'm talking of other topics that has not much to do with the main topic of this video. So sorry for that. I already finished and explained why the mind of those people fucked up, the wokes, why they are incapable to solve their own mental issues, and why they are fucked up. They will never overcome their traumas. They will never become mentally healthy. They will never be happy. But everything that I have said explains their behavior and tells you what you can expect from them. So, sorry. It is what it is. This is the world that we have to live in. It was our destiny or karma or whatever you can say about this. So there is nothing to do. there's nothing we can do. Just not being like them. Just don't get silenced by the lies. Be happy and live your own life. That's all you can do. Being happy by yourself. You don't need those people because those people are totally broken. You should only limit yourself to understand that they are like animals that can control themselves, that are forced by their traumas to do what they do, and by the extremely fear of the group that has instilled pain the culture to follow the rules of the group all their lives. They will collapse mentally if they not follow the rules of the group because they can't face the pain of their own traumas. That's it. So sorry, but they are humans. Also, even if they don't looks like, even if they doesn't behave like one, they are humans. So try to not fight with them with no reason. They already are suffering a lot. Don't give them the importance that they doesn't have. They are the incarnation of misery. And that's all that I can say about those people. Okay, thank you very much. If you have some question, please leave a comment in the comment section. Maybe some of the things that I said was not really understandable because I can speak English very well. So if that's the case, please leave a comment in the comment section. I will clarify whatever I spell wrong. So you will be answered, at least in Rumble. Thank you very much and have a nice day. If you, as I said before, if you has questions, please leave a comment. And that's it. Thank you very much. And maybe in another day I will talk about this other related theme, another related topic to this one. Okay. Have a nice night. Has spoken Zero from Neurotrollium. See ya.